So just we've got 20 minutes for this presentation. So the people you've got up here presenting today, and actually we have a special guest joining us for Q&A. I'll wait until Q&A 5 minutes before time to introduce them. But my name's Alan Grogan. I hold the role of being the Microsoft data lead for Avanade. So we're in the sponsors here. So we are the world's largest Azure Databricks SI firm. Typically, we've done in excess of $1.3 billion of Databricks or Azure Databricks implementations these past 4 years since Databricks went into GA on Azure. And coincidentally, because I'm the Microsoft data lead, I also have the interesting role of taking Microsoft Fabric to market alongside Databricks. I'm here joined by John Young. John, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. John Young. So I lead, I work in field engineering for Databricks, and I lead the technical teams that work with all of our partners, our partner of the year, Avanade, all of our partners in their practices to deliver enablement, practice development, solutions, et cetera, and how their teams implement Databricks.
So we've got 10 minutes. If I really keep to the point, 10 minutes to go through this very interesting story. It is a story I'm going to tell. So you're not going to go we're not going to go straight into the deep tech. Please grab John, myself, anybody from the team to answer those deeper questions we don't have time for. But I want to take you on a story, and then ultimately we'll land on the recommendation between Avanade and Databricks of how to accelerate your journey leveraging Microsoft Fabric and Databricks. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm estimating in this presentation, everybody here is either an Azure Databricks user, or you use Azure, or you're okay, I'm seeing everybody nod their head, so brilliant. Well, Microsoft has this thing, very little thing called the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform Framework, okay? Typically, that's not on stage, that's our interpretation of what the MIDP actually is. If you break it down, what is the MIDP? It talks about having the right Microsoft native service for the right workload, for the right job, as you look to turn data clearly into an actionable insight. Now, why I'm presenting this page is simply it's going to be important as I go through the presentation, and we then interoperate that with Azure Databricks. But we'll just move on. So we've all heard these past few hours, past few days, AI, Gen AI, Gen AI. Now, at Avanade, we've done a significant amount of research backing up what people are thinking, because then that's going to help our solution architects, our people, our men and women in the field, understand how and where you're going to get best started. Now, Avanade did a recent AI maturity assessment. It was 3,000 leaders across the world, our clients. We asked those leaders, actually, what were they feeling? What were they thinking when it came to AI and AI adoption? And as you can see, just very quickly, the results were quite stark. Though everybody's interested in AI, we all know, we all see it every day. It's actually a very easy thing to say, but it's a very difficult thing to do. And that's why with Databricks, we've been working extraordinarily hard as the platform clearly evolves and becomes that go-to mechanism, that go-to platform, not only to manage the data, not only to secure the data, not only to govern the data, but actually then to exploit the data. And I'm actually quite proud when I say that word, exploit, because where would we be today unless you can harness that data in a way that you want, responsibly. So here we go. The Microsoft Data or Intelligent Data Platform, if you look at it, it's been predominantly PaaS-based, okay, platform as a service based. Sitting at the heart of it was Databricks. Now, Databricks, since it went GA, has actually been adopted by more complex, more advanced organizations. Would we all agree with that? You needed platform engineers, you needed strong data scientists, you needed strong data engineers. Power BI actually served the entire continuum, whether you be small, medium, large, complex, non-complex. It's the best tool out there, according to you, according to analysts. But then you have this issue clearly where you've got non-strategic, legacy, and then on-premise data, sitting both cloud and non-cloud when you look at the MIDP. Now, you've got to think the whole thing orchestrated for the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform blueprints. But over time, we now look, Databricks has actually become far easier to use, far more easier to adopt out of the box. You don't need the platform engineering skills to get started from day one. Microsoft Fabric, though, is the new kid on the block. Leveraging in a SaaSified way, because it's not a PaaS service, remember, very critical to understand that. Leveraging in a SaaSified way, itself an easy to adopt platform, a very easy to adopt platform alongside Power BI, but within Microsoft Fabric or as a standalone service. Okay? Sorry. So we're in this conundrum then. So Microsoft Fabric went general availability November last year. Okay? I just want to make sure, if you're taking photographs, you actually get, if you've scanned in, you get a copy of the slides. Okay? Okay, so don't worry, I want you to listen. So you're in this conundrum then. Databricks, the world's leading data and AI platform, available as a native service on Azure. It's actually a Microsoft product at the heart of it if you're leveraging it as Azure Databricks. You then got Microsoft Fabric, which is available on your desktop. It's available in the same way. If you haven't adopted it yet, if your technology office hasn't launched it, it will be available as you access the likes of Excel. It'll be an icon there. So it's going to be generally available to every business user, every personal user on your desktop. And then you're in that conundrum, well, actually, what is it? Is it one tool? Is it one platform? Is it one experience versus the other? But actually, what we're saying here to start the conversation, there's lots of reasons why you choose. I'm going to go Databricks only. I'm going to go Fabric only. Or actually, my recommendation to you, and we've been like this since general availability and actually in public preview, it is actually a best of both worlds story. You actually need both tools to service your as is and potentially your future demand. Okay, now let's unpack that a little bit. So, example. Here's some of the critical examples, some critical decision factors that you would have typically when you're making that decision. So I'll just pick on ERP. Well, you might actually be a Microsoft Dynamics organization, and the interoperability both with Databricks and with Microsoft Fabric is straight out of the box. But as you become more complex, as you merge and acquisitions arise, partner models arise, supplier models arise, you actually will invariably find yourself in a way with organizations that aren't Microsoft organizations, Microsoft backed up, or you might actually, or clearly SAP. Now, with SAP, you all may have heard, SAP has started to become a lot more closed. They're cutting off access to a lot of their connectors. Well, it's only because you're working with Microsoft as a totality that we're able to overcome and solution and innovate around some of those challenges. Point is, the only constant is change. The only constant is change, and that's because you need, and then because of that, if you're a Databricks organization, follow Databricks, follow the journey. If you're a Microsoft Fabric interested, if it's being pushed on you or you're being asked to investigate it, embrace it. If you're actually starting on your journey and looking at both, our recommendation is it isn't a one versus the other. It's just make a decision and move forward. Because the key constant of change is going to be driven by 4 factors. Your end user. Power BI is the world's dominant BI tool. It's the world's dominant BI tool. We see it day in, day out as organizations ask us to consolidate their BI landscape. You may be small, medium, large organization. A lot of our clients, they come to us because they got Tableau, they've got Looker, they got all these. They're asking us to migrate those estates to Power BI. And then from there, it's an accelerator into Fabric and or Power BI directly over Databricks if the client's a Databricks organization. But you've got to look at your end user. Your end user can also be an advanced machine learning expert. But again, the whole point is you look at that from that perspective. Your leadership takes actually some, I'll say it, some strengths. Your leaders may choose to go the easy path. They may choose to have one or the other. We all have, I don't know if you've ever worked in deep technology, but having a technology strategy conversation with a CTO is quite a difficult thing. One versus the other. We're saying don't have one versus the other because of, we'll come on to it in a second, the actual solution blueprints. Your use cases, obviously, there are use cases that only Databricks can solve, only Databricks can manage because it being a PaaS, but also the world's leading data and AI PaaS platform available. And then lastly, your business case. Typically, we would expect for a Azure Databricks use case, an ROI, 6 months. Okay? If you've got a more modular you become, so for example, if you're a Snowflake and you've got a heavy ETL, you got a Tableau piece, you're building all that, your ROI is actually a lot greater because it's modular and because you got to fragment your business case across the different technologies, and it becomes a lot more difficult actually to what is the actual impact of each piece of each module. But there typically you're talking 2-3+ years. Okay? An Azure MIDP or an Azure centric platform, bottom line though, you should be looking for an ROI between 6 months, and if you're really bad, 18 months. Okay? So let's get into some of the technical discussion. So here's what we're actually recommending. If you were going to take a photograph, this is the photograph. So I've seen all the nods, I've seen all the heads. You are all, I hope, Databricks customers. You are all here because you've heard of Microsoft Fabric. You've got a interest in Fabric. As I said earlier, it's going to be available, it's going to be pervasive on everybody's desktop, because just like Excel is. So we're recommending today, and you haven't really seen this before, it's not been available or not been actually confirmed by Microsoft or Databricks. We're confirming as Avanade, start with shortcuts. Start with Databricks.
Sorry, what? Start with shortcuts? No, let me just jump in and add to what Alan was saying. Right, the question that customers are stuck on as they look at their enterprise data platform is, do I hang out in a data lake? Do I hang out with a cloud data warehouse? Do I adopt the lakehouse architecture? We, as a partner, as Databricks, as Microsoft, say you need to adopt the lakehouse architecture. And that is like fundamental to really unlocking use cases, unlocking and democratizing really data and AI for your enterprise. So the step is adopt the lakehouse. The next step is, now which lakehouse do we have? We have the tried and true Databricks lakehouse, and now there's an introduction of OneLake, which is version 1 of a Microsoft version of the lakehouse. To Alan's earlier point, which drives an easy adoption from those end users who've been accustomed to using Power BI and interacting with the data estate via Power BI. But for the enterprise, this is where we start. We start with the Databricks lakehouse. Did everyone catch that Unity catalog is now open sourced in the keynote? So when you start with Databricks lakehouse as its core, storing your data on ADLS, and then you move up and govern that data with Unity catalog, now open sourced, you now have a unified way to govern the lakehouse. OneLake can be adjacent to that. OneLake can also, as we talk about right now, be right there for that consumption layer. So you land data in the lakehouse, and then you serve it via OneLake and Direct Lake as your use case is needed through to Fabric Power BI. And this is where enterprises are starting. This is where enterprises are seeing their ability to scale right now.
Thank you.
You bet.
Perfectly put, okay? So, if you're technical, you'll want a even deeper technical piece here. The whole purpose of this is the last page because we want to open for lots of questions, okay? The purpose of this page is to explain, in the future, you will be landed into a scenario that's going to challenge the existing pattern that you've implemented. What we've just presented is the most strategic pattern that will support you when a deeper scenario like this exists. So you are a Databricks lakehouse, Databricks data intelligence platform, heavy user, medium user, small user. You've put that into your central operations. You then making an acquisition, or you are then dealing with a supplier. You're dealing with another entity in your company that hasn't yet adopted Databricks. It's as simple then, because there will be a higher probability of that organization will have Microsoft Fabric in place. As I said, if you're a Microsoft 365 user, you're going to get access to Fabric. Well, then Fabric will interoperate immediately if you, for example, are a heavy MLOps organization. So in this example, Fabric taking the silver standard data, taking it directly into the Databricks' own medallion, and then on you go, serving directly, clearly into Microsoft Fabric from the Power BI experience. Okay? So we did want to keep Q&A open, but I'm going to invite somebody, a special guest, up to the stage. Jiva Aker. We didn't advertise this. So Jiva is the worldwide analytics lead for Microsoft. It's Microsoft Fabric and Azure Databricks are actually products that he is responsible for in the field. So it's the first time you've ever seen, this is actually true, first time Microsoft, Databricks have stood on stage in an open forum like this to actually talk about this best of both worlds scenario. So, Jiva, thank you very much for joining us.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy actually, Alan actually said Microsoft Fabric is actually a new kid in the block. For the amount of time that Microsoft has been in the business, I'm happy that he didn't say new grandpa in the block. So,
thank you. So please grab Jiva, grab John and myself. We'll be standing at the back now, but I want to thank everybody for your time and some of those great questions.
Thank
Yeah.
you.